What's going on, everybody? We are live from 6 to 8. We bring you Welcome Northwest Officer Council, where we talk about West Side issues. We are West Side people, and those are West Side things.
That's right.
And so,
Okay.
it's episode 22. Going strong, going long. Today, we're going to talk about art because that is the foundation of creativity, life, happiness. Art is life in the community that we live in here on the west side,
Life
Austin.
is hard.
And so typically how I open this thing up is I always like to ask Steve, man, what you got going on, Steve? What's up?
Well, it's time for Santa. We're less than 7 days away before Christmas.
Yeah, Saturday.
And everybody out there scrambling to get those gifts, I guess. Hey,
Yeah, I
ain't
just
mad
want all
at you.
mine online. We
I
ain't playing in no
mad.
lines.
Yeah, I
I
know,
would be
right?
like going outside,
That's
man,
cool.
because these people acting the fool out here.
I know, right?
Every time you turn around, it's something new.
It's something new in the review.
Hey, what's
Congressman
going on,
Davis. Can you hear us good, Cora?
Yes.
Hey, DeAndre, maybe you could send her the one tap also. How you doing this today, Congressman Davis?
Hey, how's it going on, Congressman?
I won't complain.
I hear you.
Yes,
Also, Diana, please one tap. So, yeah, absolutely. Back to, like you said, how do I feel? I should feel more in the Christmas spirit. I mean, with it being so close upon us, but you know what? Maybe it's because we don't have snow yet. It's not
That's
as
cool.
cold, but
It ain't the same like it used to
we
be.
can work with it.
It's global warming.
That's what it is. Global warming, Congressman.
Global warming.
One way or another, it has an effect. But
You know, humans are the only parasite to have knowledge of how they affect their world and still don't care.
he said parasite.
Yeah, we're a parasite. I mean, the Earth is the host.
Yeah,
The Earth is the host.
right.
It gives us everything we need to survive and thrive. And for whatever reason, we want to beat it down. We a parasite. We're the only parasites with knowledge that we are actually destroying the host that we live in, and we still don't care.
Hey, we got to reel it in one way or another. We just got to reel it in. But again, let's see. Let's start on the local level. How about you, Corey? You got your Christmas lights up?
No,
Yeah, I hear you.
no, I don't have the Christmas lights up.
How about on your block?
This doesn't feel like Christmas.
I know, right?
Why does it feel like just because there's no snow?
That's a what?
I said just because there's no snow, or is there something else happening that makes it not feel like it's Christmas?
I don't know. I don't think it's no. I just think that
Antonia.
it's just. I mean, it's not the same as it used to be. I guess because when you get to be my age, you don't believe in Santa anymore.
Oh no.
It's kind of like the blues singers say, things I used to do. Lord, I don't do
right,
no more.
Congressman.
I'm doing good.
And nobody is saying they, Santa baby. You know, nobody is singing that.
Yeah, Santa came down the chimney about half past 3. Look at all these wonderful presents he left for me. Merry Christmas, baby. Let me be your Santa Claus.
Going back on that one.
Yes.
Going back.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Charles Brown is still good.
No, we gotta get festive. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's because the pandemic was the year before and Christmas was a little different. Maybe we're still in that mode. We haven't kicked it back to the normal mode yet.
But can't we create it for ourselves? Do we have to wait for a mode? I like to say always that there are two kind of people in the world. There are those who shape and mold society. And then there are those who are shaped and molded by society.
Yes, indeed.
Now, if you are a shaper and a molder, you create your Christmas spirit.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing. I've been creating. I mean, this has been a tough year. It's been a bad year. I've been to so many funerals until I can't count them. I've lost so many friends who passed away until I want to have a memorial service for all the people who used to be around, engaged in the things that I do, that passed away and didn't have funerals and memorial services that we could have gotten to. And I really want to have a thing just for them and invite members of their family. I'm talking about people who've been a part of my political activity.
Right.
I mean, just part of the activist community that I've been involved with. Just lots of them. And I felt terrible that sometimes they would be gone and nothing was really said about them. Nothing, people just didn't feel like doing it. And so I think we can create our own spirit. I got lights up in my house.
Yeah,
I didn't
I sent it
put
to
them
you
up.
too.
Oh.
My wife and my son, they put up some lights. And my neighbor next door, not immediately next door, got lights on their home. People across the street got lights, several of them, and there's not as many lights, but and then I'm going to have a lighting event Tuesday night in front of my office.
Okay.
We're going to just have a Christmas tree lighting event. We're going to give away toys to kids. We're going to give away 100 baskets of food.
Nice.
To the first 100 people who get there.
What time Tuesday? What's the address too?
5 o'clock. Start at 5 o'clock.
PM?
PM.
5 PM, okay.
2815 West Madison Street. Or really 5th Avenue. California and Madison. I think that to me, this is the year of the child. And I'm going to put a lot of focus on the idea of saving the children, because so much of our political activity this year has been about children. And this gentleman from West Virginia is holding up all the
buddy.
Which one is that? Munchin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just breaking my heart to hear him talk.
yeah.
That he
Said he killing all the social activity.
is blocking all of this good activity. You know, that bill would guarantee that every 3 and 4-year-old child in this country would have access to early childhood education.
We need that. As a father with a young one, that's 2. We need that. Let's get it.
That every child,
Let's get it.
and that the people, you know, a lot of people who work in daycare centers and things like that, they don't make enough money to put their own children in the kind of programs they work for.
Right. Yep.
They get low pay, and we want to say that we really care about our children. I can't imagine anybody that would not care. I went to the penitentiary yesterday, took a busload of people down to Danville, Illinois, to the penitentiary, and we took these little children to see their fathers for Christmas. And what a wonderful time we had. I'm talking about, we had people crying. We had, I mean, the director of the Illinois Department of Corrections, the guy that ran all the penitentiaries, when we got through and was leaving, before we left, he says, you know, I wish we had this in every penitentiary in the state of Illinois under my jurisdiction. There wasn't nothing but just men having a chance to play with their kids and talk to them, and they fixed up the gym. The inmates had painted the gym, and it was looking good. And they gave every child, when we left, they had a present for every child in the group from the penitentiary, from the Illinois Department, the staff at the prison. They got together and put all this stuff together for the children. And it's amazing how changes come. When we first started doing this, the prison officials were kind of reluctant. You know, to get in the penitentiary, you got to disrobe. You can't take the telephone in.
Oh yeah.
You got to.
They're making TikToks now.
And they take you out. They do everything to make sure, you know, that things are secure. But we had a wonderful time. So I'm just excited because we did have the opportunity. And to all the folks who went and participated, who took their children, well, some grandmothers, you know, some fathers and mothers don't always get along, and some mothers, but they did let their children's daddy's mama, in some instances, take the children to see their father. And all the fathers indicated that they just couldn't be more happy.
All right.
So good stuff is going on. And of course, you've been hearing about Dr. Willie Wilson running around through the community like Santa Claus, giving away $200,000 to homeless people.
Wow.
And he was kind enough to let a guy like me who didn't have but 50 cents go along with him. And I passed out some of the $100. It wasn't checks, cash money. And in some places, he would get carried away and give them 200. He said, well, we was under the viaduct down on Chicago Avenue, past Keswick, down there at Albany, where they got the little tent out there. And I thought he was going to cry. He said, well, $100 probably ain't going to help y'all too much. Say, Congressman, let's get another bunch of them envelopes. Let's get them 200. And
I mean, that's what Christmas is about, though. That's what it's about. It's about giving. You know what I mean? It's never about receiving. It's not about the gifts. It's about making another person feel better about themselves and their situation.
Right.
That's what it's really about, right?
You know, it really is. But no matter who you are, you know what? At the end of yesterday, when we got ready to leave, I said to people on the bus, I said, you know, if I don't get one bottle of shaving lotion, if I don't get one more necktie,
Yeah, man, I hear that.
I don't need. If I don't get another piece of cake, I've had my Christmas. I mean, I felt just that fulfilled from being involved with that activity and having been running around with Willie Wilson for the last 2 days.
It's fulfilling. That's what's up. Yeah.
So if I don't get nothing, if I don't eat one turkey wing, if I don't have any dressing, I've had my Christmas already.
So I want to go ahead and transition. We have a guest coming on today, Miss Antonia Ruber. She's grew up in the Austin community. She was the artist in residence for Austin, helping to create some of the art that we see in the community. I think she's since stepped back from that role, but we wanted to bring her on because this is a festive time and art is festive. We live with art being life. And so we really want to make sure that we start to highlight some of the beautiful people and the beautiful things that they do as we talk about West Side people and West Side things. And so, as I mentioned, Antonia Ruber grew up in the Austin community. She is an artist with passion for community, relationships, and artistic expression. And with that, I want to bring Miss Antonia Ruber to the table for this community conversation. How you doing today, Miss Ruber?
I am doing fantastic.
Okay, hold on now. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. You might have to unmute on your side. I can see your lips moving.
Let's see here. Okay, let's try that again.
Okay, no, I see. Let me see. Let me make sure. Good on our end.
Testing.
Oh, we can't hear you.
1 2 1 2.
Let me make sure. Nope, you're not muted on my end.
Okay, hang on for 1 second.
Not yet. We still can't hear you yet. Mm-mm.
Can't hear.
No, not yet. Let's see.
I think she's muted.
No, she's not muted.
Not muted.
No, she's not muted. No. Let me see. She's not muted. Let's try to leave out and come back in and see if maybe that. Let's try that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see that. All right. So we had her to pull out and she's gonna come back in so we can see if that helps. But that being said, so yeah.
You mentioned in Austin people, one of the places we stopped and dropped off some dust, some money.
Sprinkling on them.
Was Charmaine Ricketts.
Okay.
Sonia she has a social service agency on the south side of Chicago. She don't be cooking and that kind of stuff. She's actually written a book. She's a psychologist. And
what's
about 100 people at her place right there on Indiana. She grew up right here on Gladys, just like the rest of them did. And she has an outstanding social service agency, and she just does wonderful work. And so that was one of the stops we made.
Where you said south of Chicago Avenue?
We stopped on 37th.
Oh, south side. Okay. That's okay. I thought you said it was south of Chicago Avenue. All right,
that's Charmaine's sister.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's see. We got you back in now.
Testing. 1 2 1 2.
Nope, we still don't hear anything. I wonder let's do it. You want to try to?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you can hear us, right? You can hear us.
Yeah.
I got you.
That hasn't happened yet. I'm wondering,
Is it
is it too many connections?
No.
All right, so we also I will go ahead and send you the Zoom link as well, and then because we can kind of do this little situation and bring the Zoom over this way, so it's all good.
Probably should be they can adapt or adapt to that.
Let me see.
Is that speaker?
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's not.
Right.
Oh,
It wasn't unmuted. Till it come back.
oh man.
That's all right. It's okay. I knew I couldn't hear you. but I heard it out the speaker over there. All right, we okay now. What's happening, Beard?
1, 2, 1, 2. Testing.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see if we can catch you. Can you hear us? You can hear us.
Okay, now let's see. I'm gonna make sure I cut this up.
Testing 1, 2.
There you go.
Okay, cool. All right.
All right, we can hear you.
All right, cool. We got you. Let me cut you up a little bit. That was on me. I apologize for that. You would think I'd know how to do this thing by now.
Oh no, no worries. It's a real treat to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So I see the beautiful murals in the background. I know you wanted to do this from your home so you can show us the gallery. So what am I looking at over your shoulders right now?
You know what? You are looking one of the pieces have masterpieces, and they're all masterpieces, right? So they're all masterpieces, and they're in process. And so I can show you this piece right here. This piece in the background right behind me, this is finished. And this piece just came to me at the beginning of the season. Seasons were changing, and I'm always responding, or I try to respond in the moment, respond to the seasons changing. And so there is a little bit of fall, there's a little bit of spring, and then there's the winter trees in there. And then in the corner at the sun, because the sun is always shining, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what you're going through, you can always look up and see the sun. And so that's one of my finished pieces. And then I have another piece that's a part of the series behind me, and that's not finished yet, but prayerfully it'll be finished soon. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's beautiful. I love artwork. I try to make sure that I got a wall full of it, but I try to make sure that I always get more, because that's something that grounds me. I like being. I'm an artistic kind of guy, not all the way, but some of the way. So I appreciate art.
We all are, even the congressman.
Let me tell you, we do an artistic discovery that we've done every year since I've been a member of Congress, and except last year and this year. And all of the local high schools are invited to participate. Oak Park River Forest High School has probably won first place more than any of the others. But others, where did you go to school?
You know what? I attended Lane Tech High School and Loyola University for art. So I'll tell you though, Congressman, I really believe in giving our young people an opportunity to express themselves. I'll tell you quickly, when I was in high school, I had a high school teacher, my third year of high school. He saw me coming in, and I was like a late bloomer. Only thing I wanted to do was sketch, doodle. That's all I really wanted to do. And he took me to a side and he said, you know what? We can do something with this. I'll give you a chance. And Mr. Dismas Rhoda, I'll never forget, Mr. Rhoda at Lane Tech High School gave me an opportunity to compete in what was called back then the Act So. If you recall what I'm saying, Act So. And so I participated for that year and the next year. And that gave me a big boost of confidence, not only confidence, but it let me see that I can express myself in a proper format, if you know what I'm saying. And so with his help and a lot of other teachers, I took doodles and little sketches and began to create.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, because a lot of people think that art is just for those who, can have the appreciation for illustrations and demonstrations. But commercial art is also a component. How important is commercial art. And you know, everybody have to think about earning a livelihood and making a living, no matter what it is that your talent might be. And some people think that there's no, you know, real opportunity to work
Mm.
if you're
As an artist, they say them art degrees don't mean nothing. Yeah, right. Yeah,
hanging on the wall.
right.
Who pays for it,
Mm-hmm.
and who pays one to do it?
Mm-hmm.
So, what about that aspect of it?
Absolutely. I'll say two things, Congressman. I really appreciate that question too, because one of the things that came to me not too long ago was the idea of wanting to take my art, and not just my art, but the community at large. We're talking about an appreciation for art. Perhaps you didn't go to an art school. Perhaps you're a member of the community and you love flowers or you love something else. You know what I'm saying? You maybe you can cook a mean pot of greens or something like that, you know.
Me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, DeAndre, we're talking your language now.
Yep.
And but there is a way that we all can appreciate art. And it literally does start with the commercial aspect of it. Every time you look at a children's book, for example, Hallmark card, for example, anything in that nature, I'll hold this one up. This is a card that a friend of mine just gave me. She just gave me a little card. It has a scripture on it and artwork on the front. Now that's a commercial aspect of art, and some artists put that together, right? Okay. And I'm actually working on a book cover right now, so I don't knock it. I appreciate the commercial aspect of it. On the other hand, there is the ability to appreciate the fine art as well. And I believe that is what the Austin Artist in Residence was about, bringing the art to the masses, bringing the artwork to the community. The community knows the difference between something that's beautiful and something that's not, right? I mean, we all know that, right? And so the ability for the community to look up and be able to say, "Hey, I not only see something beautiful, but I see something that looks like me." Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Oh, it has tremendous.
Wait.
We used to do an art fair over at the Sears Coordinations Garden every year when I first started doing community engagement stuff. And I worked for an outfit called the Greater Lundale Conservation Commission. And Sears Coordinations Garden was one of the most beautiful spots in Chicago, right there at Homan and Arthington. And we used to have an art fair there every year. And we had individuals who lived in that area and they just moved out of Lundale onto West Garfield and then to Austin, then to Oak Park, then to Maywood, Bellwood, Broadview, and Hillside. But all of it was the movement westward, the westward movement. And so Austin, West Garfield, Oak Park, Maywood, Bellwood, Broadview, all of those are what people used to be in the near west side and in North Lundale. So yeah, art has been a tremendous part of the Austin area, but all of the other areas as well.
Absolutely. So you mentioned green, so I just wanted to pull up some of my art real quick because this is what I've been working on lately, putting my art together. Look, cooking food, man. That's what I like to do. Yeah.
There is an art to itself. That is an art to itself, DeAndre.
Cooking, man.
Spatchcock. What do you call it? Smoked turkey wings. Smoked turkey.
Yep. spatchcocking a whole turkey. But yeah, so absolutely. And once I figure out how to get somebody to either hold my camera or get the angles right, we're gonna take off. Yeah, but
You actually need to see my brother. My brother lives in Tennessee, and he is an amazing. I mean, smoked meat. You name it. You know, he's making me hungry. But yeah, that's an art, a fine art into itself.
absolutely. I love getting in the kitchen because you could be very as creative as you want to be. Like as long as you understand the flavor profiles, start just tossing anything together, and you could come up with something that you didn't even expect, And so that's why that's my happy place. Like cooking, legit is my happy place because I can go in there and create. I can go in there and be an artist in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I totally understand.
So, Antonia, tell us a little bit more about your community upbringing, because you didn't really tell us where did you live when you lived in the community or in the city.
Sure. So we were born, all of us, most of us actually, my siblings and I were born in Humboldt Park. In
Oh,
Humboldt Park. And so then we by your neck of the woods, and then from there we ended up moving to Austin. Um, and most West Siders, when you ask them where they grew up, they will tell you their address. Southsiders will end up telling you the area, but I'm from the West Side, and so I'll tell you my address: 1309 North Parkside.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And so that was my days, my teenage years were in Austin, and I never forget because Austin is a beautiful community made up of beautiful people.
Yeah.
And when we were first introduced to the community, my siblings and I got lost. And the bus driver, we were new, so the bus driver dropped us off at another location, and we didn't know where we were. We had to find our way home. And so my mother tells the story that she got a call in the middle of the afternoon from a man at the corner store, and he says, "I have your children."
Well, I know her heart started beating. Oh, boy.
But he allowed us to make that phone call so that we could find our way back home. But that was my first real introduction to the community. So it
Mm-hmm.
was a community of love, a community of gathering. Um, we had our city beefs, you know what I'm saying? There were a lot of things that happened in the community that from a young person's mind, I'm thinking like, how did that happen? Or why did that happen? I mean, I remember when people ran for office, for example, I was seriously into politics growing up. And I used to tell my mom, shout out to my mom. I say, Mom, this person's running. This person's running. You got to vote, Mom. And I would get my family involved in politics because I knew it was important to my community.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I know you right down the street from Ella Flag Young, the
Yes,
that's in the neighborhood.
yes, and you know what? It became a full circle for me this year. Actually, the last 3 years have been full circle for me because I've done some work at Ella Flag Young as an adult, um, going in as an artist in residence, and it was interesting for me to have grown up in the community and then go back to Ella Flag Young, and to be able to do an art program to some of the middle schoolers there through the program that I was involved in, and not only Ella Flag Young, but other schools in the district. And so I'm very grateful. I mean, I don't, I, the experience has been nothing short of amazing for me.
So, Antonio, what would you call your style of art?
I am a, I am an expressive artist. And what that means is that, and it actually changes. I'm going to be honest. Some of my followers, they've been following my artwork for years. They're like, you know what? I really can't peg what she's. Well, today she's doing natural and the landscape, and then tomorrow she's doing the sun and the. But for sure, I'm an expressive artist, which just means that my paint palette, my paint brush, my paint style is very expressive. This painting that you see in the back is probably more along the line of my style. I have another style, which I will, if I can bring the camera around, let me see if I can show that one. This one here, it's on an easel, but I'm gonna take it off the easel just for you all, just for you all. And so this is more of this style right here is,
Oh, I like that.
yeah,
I like that. I like that.
still expressive,
That's fire.
but it's more there's a lot of fire involved in this one. This is an oil, and there's a lot of color. I threw a lot of color on the palette.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, you can always see my work on Instagram, and people who have been following me for years, they'll say,
What's
you know,
the Instagram though?
it's at Antonia Rupert Art. So it's real easy. At Antonia Rupert Art.
Mm-hmm.
And so people who have been following me for a long time, they'll say, you know, she's really changing. Or I just produced a painting that's right now at the Mac, the Mac, and it's downtown, just in Bridgeport. It's not really downtown, but Bridgeport at the Mac. And that painting, I had someone has seen my work for many, many years, and she saw it and she says, you know, I must admit, this is a little different. The thing about my work is that I change. We all change, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so my work does not look like the same from 20 years ago. I've been painting for 20
It
years.
shouldn't look the same.
Yeah, it shouldn't, right? You go through things, and so your work shouldn't be the same. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I went and followed you, but one of the things that caught my eye, two things. One is obviously we connected through one of my professors, Dr. Malater. So she follows you, and then your profile says songwriter. Didn't know that. So talk about that.
Oh my goodness, you're fast. You were so fast. Oh my goodness. You know what? God has given me a voice, and I have been singing since there is a photograph of me. Thankfully, it cannot be found, but there is a photograph of me. I was about 7 or 8 years old, pigtails, and I was playing a tambourine. Someone took that photograph, and I have been literally singing since, since a young child. And I also have music. I have produced songs. I have created songs, not produced them, because there's a difference. Not produced them. I
Right.
have created songs,
Right. Yep.
and I have sung those songs, and I have uploaded them to to a platform. So there is a difference. And so when it comes to singing, I feel like God gives us all gifts, and it's
Yep.
up to us to
Yep.
embrace them. And that's another gift of God that I have definitely embraced.
Absolutely. Is some of your work in Austin right now? I know you were the artist in residence, but you stepped back. So, but while in that role, were you able to put some of your art in Austin?
Yes, actually. So my work primarily is, I'm a regional artist,
Mhm.
which means that my work is in this region, which means that if you will go to many municipalities, there are libraries in this region that has my work, along the Green Line in Oak Park, right there at Oak Park and South Boulevard. That I do have a mini mural that's right there.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I was really, really blessed. Oh my goodness. We were really blessed this summer to produce a mural that even now is at a school right now in Austin. And so that mural was produced, excuse me, that mural was produced with the help of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And it's called We Soar, and that was produced while an artist in residence. So I'm very happy with the process, because I felt like I gave my secrets to the next generation. And I
Mm.
think that's really important.
Absolutely.
You have any comments, Congressman?
Well, you know, the comprehensiveness of life means that every little nugget that you can take from any part of it is very useful. I often wish that there were more hours in the day so that you could take advantage of more of what the day brings,
Mm.
what the day is.
Mm.
We'll keep, we used to always give our winners, first place winners always got a scholarship to the Art Institute. They also got a trip to Washington, and one of the airlines would pay for it, Southwest Airlines. We put them and their art teacher or their parent up in the hotel for a night, and they would participate with other kids from around the country in the events and activities. And their work would hang in the corridor for a year,
Mm.
where you walk from the House office buildings over to the House itself, to the Senate itself.
Mm.
And so that work, and we've had many of the students who became commercial artists. Then the second place winners always got a scholarship to the Art Institute as well as a computer. And they didn't get a trip to Washington, they got a trip to downtown.
Mm.
And so and we always had this at the United Center.
Mm.
Matter of fact, the Reinsdorfs were always our sponsors. And we'd always go to the United Center. And if the Bulls were winning, the kids would get some tickets to the Bulls basketball game. And if they weren't winning, the kids didn't want the tickets.
I can imagine that.
So Derrick Rose and
Oh man.
There are a lot of wonderful things that have gone on and continue to go on.
Yeah.
So I commend you and congratulate you. And thanks for sharing your work and your intuition. Education, I think, is composed of a lot of different things.
Mm.
And it ought to be not only to earn a living, but also to appreciate life. And I think art helps us to do that.
Absolutely.
So art can be a catalyst to many things.
I personally want to see art used more as for its therapeutic purposes. My niece was telling me that she wants to go to school to be a clinical psychologist or therapist, but she wants to minor in art actually. And I was like, you know what? Because I was telling her, like, if you minor in school and anything, I always try to figure out how you can combine the two. I was like, I like that because you could do art therapy. And I'm like, man, art therapy would legit change a lot of people's lives. It truly would. Yeah.
It would. There are so many people who have behavior needs.
Mm-hmm.
You start talking psychology, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of my
Mm-hmm.
area of study.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many aspects of it and so many ways of trying to reach people.
Mm-hmm.
The mental health or behavior health
Mm-hmm.
is the big health needs that exist in our society.
Absolutely.
We're not putting enough money into it. We're not putting enough research because it's so hard to understand. I mean, there are so many people. We did an event last night to talk about the things that we do, but we've been organized in the recovering community.
Okay, yeah.
There are lots of people in recovery.
Yeah, above and beyond. We was doing that earlier this year.
Oh yeah,
We did the march.
Above and beyond, they are great group,
Mm-hmm.
just a tremendous. So we had an event with them last night.
That was like, okay,
a recovery
nice.
community
Nice.
at the Allison Foundation.
Yeah, they just made yeah. I'm
Where
thinking about something totally
people
different.
who, the people trying to recover from opioid use, recovering from too much alcohol, recovering from too many joints, recovering from too many drugs. Oh, it's amazing. There's so many people who use drugs until it ain't even funny.
And trying to cope with life. I
mean,
life hit you hard.
And it's just, we are a problem-oriented society.
Mm-hmm.
And so we also have to become a solution.
Absolutely.
Oriented.
Absolutely.
Society.
That's a finny.
There are more than 1 million people walking around with criminal records in America. How many? 100 million.
There's 100 million people.
100 million.
We only got a population of 300 and something.
1 in every 3 adults.
Right. Jesus Christ. You got a record, Antonia? Let's poll the 5 people on the street right now and see where we at.
She did music at one point.
You know what? I wanted to share one of the things that you said, Congressman, which was really important to me, was the fact that we have to be able to stay in the moment, no matter how scary or how hard that moment is. Art helps us do that. Okay. Just stick with me for a moment. If we are always turning to drugs and alcohol and food and sex and anything else, okay, we miss the opportunity to grow. We miss the opportunity to get through that moment. My stance is that art helps us do that. There are reasons why Marvin Gaye, who else? There are reasons why Luther Vandross. There are reasons why, oh my gosh, I can think of so many beautiful people, even at the moment, that their music helped get through certain circumstances, right? There is a reason why one of my favorite singers, his name is Jordan Armstrong. He's a Christian artist, but he is so real and so he has a song called Focus Up. And when I'm feeling kind of like, oh my Lord, what am I doing in the studio? I just throw some Jordan Armstrong on that gets me through that moment. So there's music, right? There's art, there's drawing, there's painting, there's crocheting, there's sewing, there's singing, there's songwriting, there's all kinds of artistic things that God has actually given us to get through those moments. And if we did that more often than not, I'd say we turn less to food and other things that engross us.
Absolutely. That's why I say, like, when I start feeling really stressed out, right, and more often than not, turn to the bad food. At least I was, but I understand how I feel when I get stressed out. So now I'm like, man, look, because I also do poetry, so I write poetry. That was one of the ways I would escape. But now, since I've taken a step back and I'm working on other things, I'm like cooking, and cooking, obviously, I don't cook like heavy stuff. You know what I mean? I cook actually very light options, things that are healthy. But again, that's my space to release. Like, I got a ton of seasonings. You know what I mean? Like, I chop up I like fresh food. I get nothing canned. I don't like processed nothing. You know what I mean? I really like getting in there and putting that work in. You know what I'm saying? Because that really helps for me to de-stress. The time it takes to prepare the food, and then, sometimes I don't even want to eat it. The only thing I say I got to work on is my plating, though. I still haven't figured out how to plate food to make it look as spectacular as it can look. You know what I mean? It tastes good, though. I got to work on plating, though,
No, the taste is what really sells.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, if it look good on the plate too, but I'm saying it could always look good and not taste good too. So, because to me that is a part of the way it's plated is a part of the art too. That's the part that I still haven't grasped yet. Like putting it down, man.
So let's get back with Antonia. So you want to tell us what you're doing with your projects for the future, or just give us a little more. What's going on with you?
Sure, absolutely. There are two projects that are exciting me right now. One project is called Voices of the Community, and that project is a beautiful, beautiful project that's at the beginning stages. I'm working on it with another artist, and what we're doing is it started this summer, and we took video snippets about a minute and a half of people in the community, and they were sharing with us their dreams for the community, things they wanted to see happen, not in the future, but like right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we took those images, those videos, and my part of it is I'm taking images from lifting them from those videos to create paintings out of them. And Jordan, Jordan, amazing, amazing artist. He is doing the video portion of it, and so that project, for the first time, will be shown at the Lagrange Art League in February for Black History Month, and I'm excited about it. I am excited for two reasons. The first reason is because it was birthed in the Austin community, so it was birthed from being an Austin artist in resident and just listening to people,
Mm-hmm.
just coming in contact with people and hearing them say, I want this. I wish for this. And so my artistry is just a way for me to say, hey, you get to have this. Why not? The second reason why I'm excited about it is because obviously it gives me work to do. I love it.
There we go.
So I'm excited about that project. And then the second project, which is due at the end of this month, which means, come on, sister girl, get to it, is a book cover, which I'm working on with my sister-in-law. And she is an amazing writer. She's produced a book, and I'm doing the cover for it. So I'm happy about that.
Sounds like you have quite a bit going on.
Nice.
Now let me ask: is there anyone out there that want to ask Antonia any questions? Any comments, questions for her?
I have a question I'd like to ask. This is Reverend Williams at Sunrise Baptist Church.
How you doing, Reverend Williams?
I'm doing just great. How you guys doing?
Great.
My question is this. I'm a great lover of art, and I was thinking of a West Side Art Festival. If we wanted to have it outside, Sunrise has 13 lots on that area that some of you know about, some of you have been by there, the congressman been by there, and we could have, this is my opinion, could have an outdoor art festival so that the community could get involved. There are people in the community that has a lot of artistic ability to express, but nowhere to do it.
That's right.
So I'm thinking that perhaps if we could put on a outdoor art festival that would entice the communities to take part. And I'd like to know your comments on that.
My comments, Reverend Williams or Antonia?
Okay?
Is that my comments or you want Antonia to comment on that?
Well, either or. It doesn't have to do with it.
Okay. Well, let me just try. Let me say, you're on the right track, Reverend Williams. Art is transformative.
There are two words that I don't like to hear in the English language, and that is we need to. Because we need to carries along action. So if we say that we need to, let's be thinking about what action we're going to take.
Absolutely.
Okay, go what's coming.
Absolutely, because in my mind, art is most transformative in many manners, you know, and we need a transformation in our community. I remember when I was little, over in Franklin Park, right off of Trip, I think it's Trip in like 15th.
It sure is, Trip. I used to live right down the street.
They used to do an art festival every summer where it involved the kids and adults, and you literally would go and take chalk and make murals on it was on the sidewalk. You know, I remember doing one of Mickey Mouse. I remember this is back when Isaac Hayes was big. I remember a guy did the whole Isaac Hayes album cover with the gold chains, and it just, you know, I was probably 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, and I'm like, this is amazing. But it was done right there in our communities, and you know, it stayed all summer because we had a dry summer that year. And I would go by the park and walk around and look around because it was in every square around on the sidewalk. But maybe we can do that in multiple areas because I know the congressman, he mentioned we should do a book fair at Northwest Austin Council and just bring all the, you know, the independent people that are out there that have books and have a book fair. Maybe we can do books and art and, you know, try to.
Yeah, I would love to see that take place. I'm working on a program now with the Peacemakers Coalition for a chess club and chess tournament on those properties to try to deter the minds of our young people, to try to redirect the mindset so that we don't lose every one of them. So my son, who happens to be a very good chess player, I don't play chess, I play checkers, but perhaps we can integrate the two for the summer to take the mindset of the children in another direction. And I'd like to know everybody's take on that who would like to have something to share so that we can win our communities back. Brothers and sisters, we are losing. We're losing a whole generation, as you know. I don't have to tell you that. And we need to step up. Those of us who have humanitarian experiences, and those of us who are concerned about the community and concerned about our people, this is a good time. The properties are there. The congressman has talked about a senior citizen bill being put up on their property. So I'm willing to give my life. I'm willing to give my life for the advancement of our people because too long have we suffered for the lack of knowledge and the lack of information and the lack of education. I'm willing to give my life that my grandchildren and your grandchildren and beyond that will have the opportunity to see what true living is all about. So I'd like to hear you guys take on that.
Okay, go ahead, Antonia.
You know what? I love this line of questioning. And before I share what's on my heart, I wanna give a shout out to a woman in the Austin community named Serethia Reed. Serethia Reed is a lover of art and a major lover of community. And outside of COVID, you know, we had COVID, but for the year before, 2 years before that, Serethia Reed was having an art festival in Austin on a street called West End. And I want to just say that this was a beautiful, beautiful festival. There was artists there under tents. We had different classes and workshops with the community, all free. The community could come out, have food, make art. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. And so it has happened in the past, and what's happened before can easily happen again. Am I right?
Absolutely. Is she with a group called Canna?
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I met her last summer.
Yes. Yes, yes. And so, COVID is such, but it should not stop the game. It should not stop us from moving ahead as long as it's outdoors. And so I totally agree with you. I would love to see something like that, but I would also like to see more artists in the community involved. One of the things about being the artist in residence is I came in contact with so many beautiful artists. And I'm like, so where are you? What are you doing? They say, oh, or hey, I'm on this side of town, or I'm on that side of town. But my take is to let's come together. Let's bring it together for the benefit of the community. And so that's my take on it.
But I think the Reverend is so correct, because if individuals learn to do things, learn how to do things, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If you're the best marble shooter in town or in the neighborhood, and you can shoot marbles and enjoy the game of shooting marbles. My father and I actually bonded playing checkers.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a pretty good checker player myself.
Man, you sit
I'm
there
gonna
and talk.
check you out a little bit.
Man, listen.
To the barber shop. My barber just died, Reverend Price. But the guys would come to the barber shop to play checkers as much as they came to get a haircut.
Man, listen, I need in on this checkers. I need in. What up?
If young people learn things to do, they can do positive things and will not have to do negative. Even if you just like to read. Let me tell you, somebody asked me a few minutes ago, what was I going? A friend of mine said, what are you going to do for Christmas? I said, I probably will read half the day.
That's beautiful.
I'm saying
that's a lost art. Reading is a lost art.
Like to read, they can entertain themselves, and they don't have to be wondering if there's anything. I hear people that there's nothing for our kids to do. No, there's not a lot that our kids know.
Right.
There is plenty.
Yep. I agree.
For our kids to do.
I agree.
But if they don't know how to do them and appreciate it, like people who like to play bid whist, they play bid whist all night. I'm talking about they play bid whist all night long. Mm-hmm. And if they're good at the game, or whatever it is,
I still play spades by myself in solitaire.
Yeah, just, and we're not teaching people enough skills at things that they enjoy. Mm-hmm. And if we do that, I guarantee you, if they learn to do positive things, they won't be doing negative things.
Absolutely. Listen, I wanted to bring Mark Leeson. Look like you had your hand up, so it looked like you wanted to come in and say something.
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is something, Antonia, that I've asked other artists, and it's never really it's an idea that's never really had legs, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I can imagine that you have lots of art in storage that you've painted that hasn't been circulated around in the market. And the same might be true for other artists that you know that have a lot of paintings, a lot of drawings, for lack of a better word, in storage, for one day hopefully being able to sell them. And I'm wondering if there's a way to, for lack of a better word, to bring that art up into the community and leverage it for a variety of things. And I'll give an example that I'm making up right now, but let's say somebody provides 100 hours of service to the community. There might be a way for that person to enjoy your art for 6 months and have it on the easel and then eventually return to you. Or there might be ways to raise money. I'm in Oak Park. There might be ways to raise money from people in Oak Park who would like to see your art, have your art for a short period of time. It wouldn't be as expensive as owning your art, but this might be a way of supporting a variety of artists and also encouraging an appreciation of your art and maybe even encouraging an exchange of services between people in different ways. I don't have the mechanics worked out, and I think the art would have to be insured, but it just seems to me that when we see people with such wonderful art as yours, you can probably describe how much art of yours is actually in storage somewhere. I would imagine it's significant. Does anything? What do you think of that? Does that have any meaning at all? So far, I haven't been successful in pitching that idea, but I wonder what you think.
You know what, Mark? That is an amazing. Everybody has ideas, and that's an amazing one. I would say that art is available for the people that recognize and desire it. It is the plethora of art that is available, whether it's original or print. About once a year, and it's usually around the fall, because I do have people who ask me at other times of the year, but usually there is one time a year where I will create a work of art, and then that artwork is then auctioned off to support some kind of organization.
Oh, nice.
And we recently just did that for Crystal Dyer and Gone Again Travel.
Nice.
And so I produced a painting. I went to the Ghana Fest and painted. And then the painting from that festival was then created and auctioned off. And then that money was then given to her nonprofit to help send children to Ghana next year.
Nice.
So that's an example of how we work together. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know that there may be other artists that say, "Oh my goodness, hey, wait a minute, whoa," but I feel in some type of capacity has to be a willingness, there has to be an idea, there has to be a heart stirring. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There have been other people who've asked me, "Well, can you give this? Can you give that?" And that's why I said about once a year, I will go ahead and do that with no strings, no things, nothing to be said, but just giving it.
Nice.
At the same token, I think the community can do a lot more to support its artists, and that's where my thing is. I believe that the Artist in Residence program was a good start to help support artists, to help bring ideas to the community. But there's a lot more that we can do. So Mark, to in answer, I feel like let's open the books. Let's keep dialoguing about that. I say that there are many artists who do many things very similar to what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to let Tamika.
Thank you.
I wanted to let Tamika jump in. She's had a question for a while now. Fellow artist Tamika. Yep.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Antonia. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Antonia, my question is two-part question. Number one, what advice would you give to up-and-coming artists on how to start in the business of becoming productive with their artwork and selling it or showing it? And my second question is, what is a way to keep you in the know of your artwork to be in the business for 20 years? Because I know a lot of people come and go, but to have sustainability is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good question.
one of the things that I would, first of all, thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. About 15 years ago, I had the opportunity to sit with an artist, and her name is Sabina Oat. She has since passed away, but I had the opportunity to sit with her. Sabina lived in Oak Park. She was from New York and she moved to Oak Park. And Sabina, at that time, Sabina sat with me and saw my work. Hang on one second. And one of the things that she told me, which was life changing, up until that time, I had been working by myself, I mean, schlepping my stuff here and there and doing this and doing that, attempting to, what I say, make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she saw my work and she looked at me and she gave me 3 pieces of advice, which I will share with you, Tamika. One of the things she said was partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We all need partners. And she said point blank, start collaborating. Whether it's you and one other person, you and your cousin, you and your big sister, you and a collective of artists, you all work together. Birds of a feather flock together, number one. Number two, one of the things I would share with you is to form a community. This is different from a partnership. A community is based on people who they want to just see you win. They
Mm-hmm.
want to see you make it. They don't care if you you go to Italy, go downtown Chicago, go to New York. They're gonna follow you and they want to see you win. Form a
Mm-hmm.
community, and that community will be with you when things are up and when things are low. Shout out to my community as I state this. Fallon, Sequoia, yay!
Man.
And then last but not least, in terms of getting your artwork, organization is key. And I speak to myself on that. I speak to the choir on when I say that. I use apps. I use Artwork Archive to keep my artwork together. Keep things organized. What else? Things that we can talk about offline if you want to. But I would say that knowing who you are and knowing that you are a business is really important. And also, this is one I would tell you from my heart. I speak to God daily about my work, and that is no joke. When it comes to what's the next series of paintings, when it comes to what to showcase my work, when it comes to partnerships, I am continually in connection with my Father because I'm getting it from Him. Okay? So that's the best that I can share with you. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you so much. And I would love to talk to you offline. I'll ask Steve or DeAndre for your information so that we can talk more.
Absolutely. And on Instagram at Antonia Rupert Art is where you can easily find me.
Actually, I just accepted you, followed you on Instagram, so you're right. I'll send you a message through there.
Awesome.
My contact information.
One thing you said, Antonia, you said community, create a community. And I was thinking, we have communities that are already created. But the thing that we need some transformation. And as I said earlier, art is transformative, no matter what it may be. We know you do murals. We know Tamika, she's a photographer. We know Tay Wilson, he's a filmmaker. He's making a film called West Side Stories right now. We know Shannon, what's Shannon's James? James Shannon, he's an author. And Congressman has a bunch of authors, and we got to bring these groups together to change our community. As bohemian as it may sound, we need to do this. And I just had an idea. What if we made murals or photos on every block, like when the blocks used to have, welcome to the 1200 block of Massasoit. This is what, and then you put a mural on that corner, and and it represented what the block was about. And you had these on every block where you created a gallery within a community. You know, these are the little things that can be big. You know?
Absolutely. My goodness. I know that there was a group with Sergeant Harris. Sergeant Harris, he was in the 15th district, but I'm not sure which district he's in right now.
Oh, we keep in touch with him. You know?
Absolutely. But Sergeant Harris had him and the group that he's a part of had started something which probably needs to go 10 times bigger, right? 10 times bigger, where we do the block clubs. I think he had about 15 or 20 block clubs at that time. But if you exponentially expand it and bring it up, I think we get right there where you're talking about, Steve, because I think that art is good on the corridors, right? On the business corridors, but true transformation happens inside of the community. It happens when you walk outside of your door and see that beauty right there meeting you. I give a shout out to the 5900 block of actually it's not 59, sorry about that. It's probably 55 or 5600 block of Adams. And most recently their block club captain is Antonio Daniels. And when I was over there recently, I saw signs. And as you walked along the signs were beautiful. And they said things like, "You are loved. You are beautiful. You're worth it.
Block
You'll
club.
do it." You know what I'm saying? And so this is how art is taken over inside of the community. That's what we need exponentially. Like all the blocks, not just one, but all of them need something like that.
And a good block club back when I was the alderman. That's been more than 20 years ago.
They still going.
They sure did.
That's all right. But these are little things that we can do, and it doesn't take a lot. Just a little organizing.
Steve, you finished, Congressman?
Yes.
Steve, let me just say that in the 4300 block, I'm trying to start a block club association that would be from Pulaski to Cicero. There is so much happening in the community as well as you know. The West Side is the hardest thing in the city of Chicago right now. And we want the neighbors to be able to maintain their properties rather than moving to Bolingbrook and not being able to get back into the city.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody out there that hear my voice that have any input into what we can do in order to start or to set up a strong block club association, because as you know, in the past, because one of the reasons is because of the technology that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I am a technical person myself. I'm a computer technician by trade. And there is a lot of things that we can do. Now, getting back to art, years ago, I was in business with a couple of guys up on Madison. We had a computer store. We would close the store every Thursday night and have a talent show. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody would get anything, but they would just come and share their talent. So, if anybody know how to help me,
well, you talking to
started with a block club association.
Well, you talking to the person
right here. Really appreciate it. If so, you can inbox me on Facebook or Instagram and let me know that you're willing to share with me your ideas.
Oh, we're gonna talk.
Because personally speaking, as I stated earlier, I'm willing to give my life for my people. And I definitely don't want my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren or great-grandchildren to suffer the things that we are suffering with apartheid in America.
Yeah.
Or we're still under those rules, those systems, and we need to break that which is holding us back. And the lack of education and knowledge is holding us back. So whatever we can do to stimulate and to amplify the fact that our people need to be educated and to understand what is going on systematically against them, it would be be greatly appreciated. As I said earlier, action is needed. Thank you so very much.
I would definitely make contact with you, Reverend Williams. You live in my old neck of the woods. Matter of fact, you right around the corner at 4300. So I would definitely be willing to share the blueprint on how to educate, activate, and support what you're asking.
You can call me and we will help you do that. And I will personally be engaged with trying to help you do it. But I also have a person who's what I call one of my outreach staff persons to be engaged with you. So just give us a call. Give me a call, and we'll help you do that.
But you know what?
I'll do that after the holiday, Congressman.
All right.
Everybody on the line, I don't know.
You've been working with us for a long time, even with Reverend Gardner, before he passed at Sunrise. You and Ed Smith used to make it your business to come by, not even during the election time, but just come by and share with us. And you are well aware of Sunrise. And I certainly thank you so much for the invitation. And after the holidays,
all right,
I'm going to be calling you because I want this to get going.
We'll be with you.
We're losing too much. We're giving back too much.
You already got me. You already got me activated, Rev. Because I'm thinking right now. Everybody on the line know what the Cannes Film Festival is, right? Where they introduce new films, that are about to be released over in Europe. I'm thinking we should have a CAN, which stands for Central Austin North Avenue to Division Arts Festival.
Right.
Yeah.
And we pull in all of these artists from, I don't care wherever, as long as they can just showcase and inspire and show where they come from. I mean, we sitting in the room right here, Congressman Davis, DeAndre, and I, we all are products of Austin. We all are artists in one way or another. His poetry, Congressman Davis is in the poetry, and I'm in the art and paints and murals and all. So, and we're from here.
Okay, good. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Anyone else have any questions, comments?
Yeah, Reverend Williams, I really liked very much what you said, except for one part, which was giving your life. Giving your life, being fully into it, great. And it seems to me that what I wanted to add is, as we're planning this, especially if we're planning it, multiple events throughout the West Side, that we begin thinking of doing this annually. So whatever we build further the next year.
Yes, that sounds great. That is fantastic. That's awesome. Yes, I would love to do that.
And one other possibility, the high schools, I don't know whether it's still going on, but they have something called Future Cities competitions. And I'm just wondering, and what that's about is teams of, I think it's junior high school age children, compete using found materials, like used cartons and stuff, to propose what they would like to see the West Side be like. And the teams would compete. And then the winning team would go to citywide competition and then, regional competition, etc.
That sounds good.
So it's just another dimension of art, music, nutrition, all kinds of things can be part of the festival.
Yes, that sounds really good. That sounds great. just we can implement it.
All right. Anybody have anything else they'd
Love
like
to
to
talk,
add?
love to talk to you further, Reverend Williams.
Yeah,
That's it.
inbox me on Facebook, and we can share and maybe have lunch and share some of our ideas. I would love to do that.
What are you saying about Facebook?
I said, even if you Facebook me, your inbox me, you find me on Facebook and Instagram. Just you can go to the Sunrise Baptist Church Facebook page and inbox me.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if I can figure that out.
Yeah, after we get off the line, just stay online and we exchange numbers. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, good.
Tiny, you there?
I'm here.
What's your
I'm
input?
just an artist.
What's your input on all this?
I think it's great. I just wish I was autistic.
Well, you writing a book, right?
Tiny, your beard is artistic. It's nothing else.
Yeah, I know. I told him he the first black Amish I know.
Okay? I'm just glad to be around like-minded people.
There you go, Tiny.
You're all right.
Okay?
You chess player.
Yes, sir.
No, I think we can get this together. I mean, this is not that difficult to do. We just have to set a date and coordinate the people and get the word out.
Well, I think it goes beyond projects. You know, I was just looking at something that was texted to me today. A little boy that I gave a book to, and he and his mother sent me a text today, and they say, "Hello, Mr. Danny. Caleb and I wanted to share our special day with you. We pray you and your family are doing well. I will be sure to share my dissertation with you as soon as it is released. School counselors supporting the needs of homeless students, Dr. Camille Sterrett." And this means obviously this person just finished writing their PhD dissertation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just got a doctorate degree, and just simply out of the clear blue sent me a text saying they wanted to share with me because they know that we had a conversation about homeless students one time. And this is what they wrote their dissertation on. And so, you know, life is full of projects. Life is full of things to do. But what life is filled with the most is constant engagement, constant involvement. Things become a natural part of being. Doesn't have to be anything special. Doesn't have to be anything out of the ordinary. You know, I hear people talk about communities and neighborhoods and how bad this community is. And I'm amazed, quite honestly, when I hear some of that. Recognizing that if you go to the east, you go to the west, you go to countries that are at war. You know, Fred Hampton said something when he was 20 years old. He said that war was politics with violence. But he also said that you can have intellectual war and all of that, which is nothing more than politics without violence. And so I thought of how profound he was at about 20 years old in terms of understanding the world in which we live. There's always been wars and rumors of wars.
Mm-hmm.
There have always been disengagement. There have always been people at odds with each other. There has never been as much peaceful coexistence in the world. We had World War One, we had World War II, we had the 100 Years' War. If you study history, we had something called the 100 Years' War. Then we had the 30 Years' War. And so we've always had all of these. If you study the Bible, Lord, the Old Testament wasn't nothing but war. I mean, it was just full of war. And people trying to find ways to coexist peacefully is an ongoing process. So you make use of everything that there is to make use of. Yeah, it's been a great discussion about artistic activity and making use of creativity to find a better approach and a different way to try to bring some ease. I mean, there are psychiatrists who do nothing but study human behavior. They ain't found the answer yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't do anything else other than that. That's what they do. They spend all their time trying to understand human behavior, and they don't have the answer. So there are no simple solutions. There are no easy answers. It's the constant driving and the continuous engagement. So it's not a project. It goes on until you die.
You absolutely. Let me jump in really quick. And the other thing about art, it doesn't have anything to do with an age. You could be 2 years old. You could be 102 years old. You can create or admire and be inspired by art. And that's one thing I think we got to really tap into, DeAndre. We got to tap into, because we got a bunch of young people that want to be involved in these podcasts. They want to talk about their music and their film work and the rap this and all that. But we got to figure out how to integrate it, because they are artists. I know a bunch of young guys. That's what they do. They do murals. They do T-shirts. But it's just hard to get it out of them to come together.
I wanted to circle back around to Antonia, because one of the things you said earlier was that the community could support artists more. So I want you just to expound on that a bit and talk about what exactly could the community do to offer more support for artists.
You know, DeAndre, I appreciate you circling back. I'll just give this. When I went to Italy in 2017, and it was my first time leaving the country. And I went to study art in Italy. I went to paint for about 2 weeks, and I was so moved. It was truly a transformative time for me. And at one point, I remember I was painting on the street, and this gentleman comes up to me, and I had been painting for a while, and he came up to me, and I mean, he just made it very obvious that he wanted the painting that I was painting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just started this thing. No, you know. And he said, no, no, no. I said, no, I literally, I just, and I'm trying to share with him in my broken language. He's trying to share with me in his broken language. And then he looks at me and he says, for the water, for the water. And he put some money in my hands for the water. And then he walked on. And it totally changed something about myself and about the way that I was doing things. And not only did this stranger want the painting that I was painting, he wanted to also give me something to continue my journey, to continue painting. And that's very different from how we do art here. But I want to bring it up because I think it's important. And so whether you give someone who is an artist, whether they're 2 years old, 3 years old, 30, 48, 49, if you give them something to continue their journey, whether it's a voice of encouragement, whether it's, hey, here's something for your time, your easel, your paintbrushes, your inks. Here is something for the painting. I love the work. Hey,
Mm,
can I get a print of that? Or
mhm,
ideas. You know what I'm saying? That an exchange of something means a whole lot.
mhm,
Our community has a lot of artists, and there are people who are what I say they're closet artists. They're not sure how do I navigate this thing. They're kind of like, I'm painting and painting and I'm not sure how to, that's where the community comes in. The community, whether it's that teacher that sees that artist, the auntie that sees that artist, the pastor that sees that artist, can be an encouragement and support for that artist along the way. I'll tell you one more thing. I was involved in the Humboldt Park Art Festival many years ago. I was a student artist. I was about maybe 17, maybe 18, I'm not quite sure. I was involved in this art show and I was so excited. I saw all these artists there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool."
Mhm.
And one of the judges walked past and she says, I want to commend you and encourage you. And she had asked me my story, and I just told her I'm getting ready to go to Loyola University. I told her I was I was headed to Mundelein because it was Mundelein College at the time, and they got bought out by Loyola, but that's another story.
mhm,
Sure
but
was. Sure
but
was.
at that time, that judge stopped and wanted to hear my story. That judge happened to be Dr. Margaret Burroughs, who created the DuSable Museum. Dr.
mm,
Burroughs actually sent me, it wasn't a huge check, but she's after the show, she did send me a small monetary check to support my art supplies. She saw something in me that I didn't even see. I was like, I'm just going to school trying to get, further education. And she said, here is something for your art supplies.
right.
Everybody can do something. We might not be able to do everything, but we all can plant a seed. And that's what
Mm,
she did for me. That's how a community can support one another.
mm,
Sounds just like Margaret. If you come to my house, on every room there is a Margaret Burroughs painting.
mm,
When you walk in my house, growing up, Margaret was a dear friend of mine, and she and her husband were so instrumental, especially Dr. Burroughs, in establishing the DuSable Museum of African American history that is connected now to, national museums. And she was just a wonderful human being and had a great deal of contributing stuff. She'd take her paintings into the jails and prisons. Last time I saw her alive, we were both going to speak at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, which is the federal penitentiary downtown,
Mhm.
to the inmates there. And she had an arm full of her paintings that she was going to autograph and give out.
Wow. They started on Michigan Avenue, on Michigan in the
They
Greystone.
lived on Michigan. Yeah, that's very well. She lived on that.
That's when I was in first grade. That was the first time I got to understand about our culture, our history, and it was in that gray stone building, going from the basement to the second floor, looking at all the different artifacts and writings about slavery and African art and all. And I was just like, wow, this is a museum. I thought a museum was a gravestone.
She'd probably come back from the grave and told you. You remember?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Okay, because I knew Margaret Burroughs also. And I used to live with a guy named Bill Walker, who was real close to her. And Bill Walker did the Wall of Respect, and he did another mural over by the Packing House. But the person I really thought about when we were talking was, like, I'm not an artist, but I know some artists. Do anybody here know C. Sidhow Weber?
No.
I don't.
C. Sidhow Weber? Now, this guy was a muralist. He got murals all up and down King Drive. He got murals around 55th Street. He got a PhD from the University of Chicago for doing murals. He liked naturopath. He had an office down across the street from City Hall, and he lived in Inglewood, a few blocks from me. And he used to say, rather than move to a better neighborhood, let's make our neighborhood better.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Dr. C. Sidhow Weber, a great man.
Well, I've probably seen his murals because I've seen some murals on up and down King Drive there's one that's still there on the side of an old train overpass or underpass.
Yeah.
And the tracks are gone, but they left the stone.
Yeah, but by that chicken and waffle place on 39th, it's going right across the street from there.
Look,
well, y'all know Chicago, don't you? Well, I can tell you the guy that owned the chicken and waffle place lived in Austin. He lived on Midway Park.
Wow.
A word.
Who is it? Who's it?
The owner of the chicken and waffle.
You remember the name? You know the person's name?
Yeah. I don't think the full name in a second, but yeah.
No problem. But
I must confess, I either the one in Oak Park.
Nah. It's the same. They owned by the same person or different? Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. That's nice. That's what's up.
I feel very inspired going into the next year. I mean, we've been looking at a way to unify our community, and I don't know why. It's always been right in front of us through the arts. I mean, schools are kind of pushed away from arts. I mean, definitely in high schools, it's not as big as it used to be. I remember being a young man living in Austin, going to Emmett, and there was a mural on Lake Street, right up under the underpass. That mural was there for over 30 some odd years, but we always looked at it as a reflection of what we felt and what we thought about being in Austin or being a part of Austin. And I think they just changed that mural about what, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? I don't know.
I think a lot of it has to do with the creativity and being able to be and think outside the box when it comes to solution making. And I think we so often rely on a tried and true methods, or at least that's the way we see them, that we neglect to think about some of the other ways that we could potentially be doing things. And art does give opportunity for expression, freedom, the creativity that's needed in order to see change. And I do think we need to rely a lot more heavily on the ability of all the people to create art in whatever way that is. And we have to show them that everything that they are involved in is art, because that in itself will probably lift the self-esteem and interest all that's involved in some way. So because even a person like Tiny, who said that he's not an artist. There's something that he does that is art, though. Something, you know what I mean? Something that a God-given ability, like Antonia stated, that we all have, is his art. And if you looked at it that way, you can find happiness in that thing that you do. And then you can in turn share that with another person who can see that as art as well. So we just have to be as creative as possible when it comes to how we look at things and how we present them to people. Because it's everywhere. Everywhere, you know?
Tiny says that. But you know what? If you ever heard Tiny's story. No, I was just gonna say really quick. If you ever heard Tiny's story since he was a young man up until now, you would say that's a movie, that's a book, because his story is art in itself.
Thank you, Steve.
I took Tiny to lunch about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. We spent 2 hours. And I was at awe just listening to his story, how he one of the first black men to graduate from Dartmouth College, you know, how he came up in the streets of Lawndale, how he went to reform school, how he became a businessman, how he worked for these big corporations and the whole gamut.
Listen, well, you know, this whole situation is about community conversation. So basically what we need to do is get Tiny on the show. So Tiny, when you available to come on the show and tell your story?
That's right.
Whenever you want me to do it.
All right. We looking at you for the top of the year then. You need to be the first person to come on and kick us off the right way.
Yes, sir. Good.
The unartistic artist.
Yeah.
So what we usually do is we kind of wrap up with final thoughts and things like that. So as we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour and we have a number of people on the Zoom, I really wanted to go ahead and start that process so we don't really belabor it. But before I do that, I always like to throw the disclaimer in for everybody that's paying attention, that's tuned in. There's various ways that you can check us out, whether that's the Facebook, the YouTube, or the Zoom. Whatever option you choose is best suits you, and you can interact with us. You can comment. If you are on the, if you comment, we can see it live. We can actually put it live on the screen, so we can see the people that's talking and things like that. If you are on the Facebook or the YouTube, go ahead and like, man. Go ahead and subscribe, man. Come on, man. Let's boost the numbers up so we can continue to have these wonderful conversations, so that people can catch on to what we're doing, because this is about transforming the narrative and how people see us and what they think about us. And these conversations are much needed because that changes the perception of what we author, so to speak. That being said, I definitely want to go ahead and move to the Zoom and start to bring in some individuals for final thoughts. And I'm just going to go by who I see on my screen. So the first person I see is you, Tiny.
Well, it's like to say I'm glad to be around like-minded people. Keep up the good work. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Barry next. You on mute, Barry? You on mute? You on mute?
Yeah, someone just told me.
You on mute, Barry?
Oh,
That's all right. Go to whoever's talking.
That's
Miss
Ella.
Houston. Ella Houston, are you there?
Ella.
what is that?
Miss Houston.
Well, what?
Oh,
Hold
man.
on. You got him?
No, you gonna have to. You got to mute.
One at a time. Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead, Barry. You got to unmute.
Hey, great show. It's wonderful to hear and see Antonia and her work again. And DeAndre, you mentioned a new transformative story. And want to remind everyone of the story of Peace, which is a new story about the West Side and people coming together, helping each other, and having the thriving community that already exists but doesn't have a name till now. And I call it Peace.
All right, thanks, Barry. Reverend?
Antonio, I'm just so grateful and thankful that I was able to be a part of this conversation. Too long have we suffered under American apartheid. That I feel bad that we are not able to network. There's so many of us out here doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Once we are able to network, then we are able to give the congressman a lot more power in D.C. Allow me to heal back in the 70s when Richard Nixon was president. Allow me to heal at least twice a year. There are two things that I know the politicians and the congressman can verify this. They recognize money and numbers. I've said this to say this. If we can organize our people, starting with the young ones, to let them know how important it is to vote, that we can do things when we have numbers. But there are enough numbers that people will start listening to us.
That's a fact.
And the main thing is to try to get our people educated and get information to them that they need. Information is like a helicopter when it comes to our community. It goes up and then it sets back down, even if it's right across the street. So I'm grateful for what we are doing, and I pray, and I'm going to be asking God to direct us and to give us something that we can make the West Side be shining just like a star. I really take my hat off to Bishop Rachel out there. They're doing a $300 million project, and I certainly cannot see why the West Side of Chicago cannot be doing the same thing. But we just have to educate our people. It's not the key to everything, but it's a key. By George, it's a key to open that first door. And if we can open that first door, then we can move around in the metro. And we are in a metro. And once we do that, then I think we'll be successful. Steve, I'd like to see you again sometime in this very, very near future, maybe right after the holidays. I thank you so very much for allowing me to share and to be a part of this dialogue today. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Welcome. Anytime.
Miss Houston?
Hello, Houston.
Hey,
Merry Christmas.
you know, I really enjoyed this session because talking to Antonia and, when she was talking and discussing about her art, and what I wanted to say was, a lot of people said it. Art is very expressive. It's used, before I retired, we used it as a therapy piece, showing aggression, anger, child abuse, whatever issues the patients have, it reflected in their artwork. And, if they're angry, they use reds and blood spots and all kind of stuff. If they're calm, they use waves and blues and greens. So art a lot to me. And I'm very happy, to hear this. And as far as the preacher's concerned from, was it Rising Sun Church?
No, Sunrise.
Church. I think that's very important that we do have an art festival. And that and drawings, but it also includes sculpting and whatever art you have. You know, some people use that clay to mold things that they can create with their hands. I have one patient that uses a bar of soap, and from that bar of soap, she drew pictures, she made statues, and it was very, in the girl, she learned to make money out of sculpting from her soap bar. She would sell it. So, I'm all for it, and I thank you all for, bringing that out.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wonderful.
It's someone with an iPhone. Say celebrate.
Yes, this is Dorothy Connor.
Hey, how you doing, Miss
Okay,
Connor?
what's up, Miss Connor?
Yeah, I got in on it a little late, but I really did enjoy it, and I agree with you are talking about, and whatever way that I can be of any help, I will be available. Just let me know.
Thank you,
But it was a good conversation.
Thank you.
Glad I heard it.
Tamika. Thank you. Tamika.
I just want to say thank you guys for organizing this. And thank you, Antonia. I appreciate the information that you guys give. And everybody have a wonderful holiday.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, happy holiday, everyone.
God bless you.
We got First Municipal Courtroom.
God bless you.
Yeah, that's First Municipal Courtroom. Yeah, it's a little odd, but Miss O'Connor, you still on the phone there?
I'm sorry.
Miss O'Connor, on the phone?
Yes, I'm on the phone.
Okay.
Celebrate phone. I already spoke.
No. We got another person on the phone in the inside.
That's Cora Williams.
Oh, Cora Williams. But okay, right. Okay. That's on me. Cora, sorry about that.
Yes.
What's going on?
No problem.
So such a wonderful show. This is exactly what I needed. The show started. I went and I started my quilting again.
Nice.
More art.
Nice. Now,
I'm just overwhelmed, and thank you, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
thank you.
And
Thank
I've
you so
seen
much.
her quilt. I saw her a couple weeks ago. I went by her house. She can really, she got it.
Congressman.
I gotta get over the sunrise so I can get me a full sermon.
What was that?
I gotta get over the sunrise so I can get me a full sermon.
Absolutely. I got one week for you,
All right. Look forward to it.
All right.
I want to say, it's been most inspiring. Art uplifts, whether it's dance, poetry, sculptures, murals, creating a quilt, creating a building. I'm inspired now to even think about, I started doing some welding. I'm like, man, we always put signs up on the block club, on the beginning of the block. What if I weld something, or a nice sign, or a sculpture, and then we mount it.
Picasso did.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Picasso weld something.
For sure.
So I'm most inspired going into 2022, and in Northwest Austin Council will be 50 years old. And, I look at all of the people that came before us, Miss Spann, Mr. Langworthy, Mr. Cardwell, and all of those individuals that built our community. And I say, you know what? We got to take this torch and keep it lit, keep it hot, and keep it glowing for all of the Canned area, for all of Austin, for all of Northwest Austin area. And I want to say Merry Christmas to all.
Antonia?
First of all, thank you. Thank you for this conversation and for allowing me to be a part of it, number one. And number two, I'll just leave it with this. God created all of us, and he created us creatively, which means that we have it in here. It's already inside for us to be able to do something with. So I thank you.
All right. As for me, I just want to say everybody said everything that needed to be said. So for those that's making art, keep making art and make more of it. Happy holidays, everybody. Enjoy your friends, your family, your loved ones. Enjoy this dry, not not dry per se, but you know, it's non snow Christmas that we're gonna have, man. But just do it in proper fashion. Hey, continue to protect yourself. Act like we still living in the pandemic because we surely are, and we want to make sure that as we move into 2022, we start to think about the things that that keep us here and keep us alive and well and safe. And again, just keep making art, man. And like I usually say in closing, listen, they did not want to give us a seat at the table, so we had to create our own. Thank you for allowing us to welcome you to Northwest Austin Council. Y'all have a good night.
That's right. Happy Hanukkah, happy Merry Christmas, and Kwanzaa too. All right, all.